This is another episode of Breaking Down Designs on my channel, a series where I look at characters from a variety of different media and try to break down and describe what the artists want to convey about the characters' playstyles and personalities. For this episode, I picked Mauga and Zarya. I did that because they have a couple of neat interactions with each other.
You talk big, but can you deliver?
With a big red bow on top.
I prefer pink.
For you, I can make it happen.
Comments and criticism are welcome. With that, let's get started.
Ready to have some fun?
Tell me what you gonna do now. Breathe in, now breathe out. Hands up, now hands down. Back up. Tell me what you gonna do now. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling, 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 rolling. Keep rolling, 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 rolling.
Beginning with his color palette. His primary color is a bright-ass orange. His secondary color is a beige that sometimes turns brown, and his tertiary is a blue that's a bit purple on his sleeves. That blue-purple on him is supposed to kind of look like oil or heated metal, which is also found on the barrels of his guns. His highlight color is a pale yellow gold. His skin, like most skin tones, is actually within the hue of orange, but it is quite a bit more saturated given that he is Polynesian, so it helps benefit his color palette that way. His tattoos are also that same gunmetal color, but also quite a bit darker. We'll go over in more detail about his tattoos later. Editing me here, his tattoos aren't actually this color. They're closer to a gray color, but because of color theory and our brains changing interpretations dependent on visual surroundings, we see it as that same color, that gunmetal hue. The same goes for Zarya and her tattoos. The range of hue for the gunmetal color within his scheme could maybe act as a contrasting color to his vibrant orange, but not entirely since it's not a perfect match as it's not actually blue. His palette puts an immediate focus on his guns and his legs, through the use of both saturation and value. But the color distributions on his guns is unequal. They also have different designs and palettes, meaning they likely do different things. When you put him in black and white, your eyes are drawn to his face, which is completely normal in character design, partially because of his black and white hair and lighter tinted headband, since that black and white have a huge pop in value.
You guys know what we should do?
Since his lower legs contrast to his pants, you'd be able to see them moving around quite well. They wouldn't blend in with the rest of him all that much. The overall blast of vibrance from his palette really tells you that he's high energy. Orange as a color, and especially at this vibrancy, is associated with stubbornness, change, and speed. And one other element that humans have associated with this color for thousands of years. It's almost like the artists are trying to maybe tell you one of the core parts of his kit through his color alone. I wonder what that could be. Who knows what that could be? It's anyone's guess what they're trying to tell you with his color palette and what one of the hallmarks of his playstyle is. It's almost like there's an element on this planet that's been around for God knows how long, and we have an association with that element and that color. Who knows? What is it? Who knows? What are they trying to tell us? What are they trying to... It's fire. It's fire. His color palette's trying to tell you he's linked to fire. The orange on him links back to fire and hot metal.
Should've worn a helmet.
The orange is also really brash and boastful. Maybe it has to do with his personality, but that is a bit of a guess. You know, it's just a bit of a stretch. Just a bit.
Unbelievable.
Also, when he uses his overrun ability, he does glow orange with fire.
Going so soon, I'm gonna miss ya.
The beige on him belongs to a practical khaki pant. That's what the pant looks like. His shoes are a darker brown though, and he does have that pale beige headband that I mentioned earlier. The gunmetal color gives off stability and moral corruption, since it's in between purple and blue in hue. When paired with the orange, it means he's a bit boastful, stable in that trait, but maybe not the most trustworthy.
Try not to destroy anything valuable this time.
Is someone still mad I burned down the server room?
I lost a lot of bank account numbers and my favorite pizza recipes.
Not the pizza!
The gold on his scheme helps add a little bit of style. Mauga even has some earrings on him and they share that same gold color. When he uses Cardiac Overdrive, he actually has a yellow AoE around him. Within the design language of Overwatch, yellow is the color of healing.
I got your back! For now.
Then we can look at his physique and shape language. If it wasn't obvious, he is size grande as a human. They kind of just stretched a person in every direction to get him. His head is also comically small. His massive size basically means the only thing he could be in the game is a tank. Because of what he's wearing, which is not a lot, mixed with the lack of any sort of technological designs on him, such as computer cables, power cables, or colors that invoke shields within the game, it means a technology-based playstyle wouldn't be part of his kit. He also doesn't have great dexterity with his hands. They're stuck holding his two big guns, meaning his role as a tank isn't one that puts up barriers or walls. He is the wall. You shoot him, not the people around him. But since he does have a noticeable amount of armor on his legs, and that they do share the same color as his guns, you could assume that his legs are also integral to his playstyle. Mauga is also, for his size, in better shape than Roadhog, for example, so he may have a movement ability. But looking at him, he doesn't have any jets on him, he wouldn't boost forward, but maybe he could barrel forward. Since he's so big, maybe he'd be like an unstoppable force. Whoa, see what I did there?
Have some fun. Yep, that's my name all right.
His guns are also relatively similar in design. They're both miniguns, and they both share the same shape language. The only thing that's different between them is the barrels and the housing of them. Therefore, you could assume they have similar fire rates and ammunition types. One wouldn't be semi-automatic while the other's automatic. One of his guns does have the flammable warning sign on it. You could guess that he could load a couple of frag rounds into it, or that maybe somehow the gun lights things on fire. Cha-Cha and Gunny are actually the largest weapons in the game currently. Reinhardt's hammer is second, and all three of those weapons are actually bigger than Tracer. He's got a few square shapes on him. The ammo drums of his guns are squares. They technically could have done circles, but they went with squares. Nothing is really thin on him besides some of the ink lines on his tattoos. Speaking of which, incorporate many square shapes as well as many triangular shapes. Lots of his tattoos are jagged and triangular. You probably saw this coming, but we're going to compare his tattoos to Maui's from Moana. Maui's tattoos have a lot more circles present in their design, as well as they come off as kind of wave-shaped, so he looks way less aggressive because of it. Mauga's belt even has thick arrows on it. His beard has a couple of triangles in it, and those kind of point you to the center of his face. He also has really large canine teeth, and since he's always showing off those pearly whites, you can find some triangles there too. These combinations of shapes mean he isn't a complete pushover when it comes to damage and speed, but the triangles are definitely not the focus of his design. Overwatch's Team 4 actually got in touch with a traditional Samoan tattoo artist. There's the name of the person who helped. They kept in communication with him so that many parts of his design were faithful to the character's culture. All in all, Mauga is a design that conveys a playstyle of volatility, fire, and being a living wall. He's all about getting up in your face with his aggressive and sunny disposition, and once he gets going, he's incredibly hard to stop. You could even call him an unstoppable force.
Now this was a great day.
Now we're going to head over to the record-setting champ in the Overwatch universe. I'm not going to really focus all that much on Zarya's original design, starting with her color palette. Her primary color is a white to gray-blue steel. Her secondary is a slightly desaturated steel blue, and her tertiary is a brick red. Her underlying fabric is a desaturated navy blue, and her tattoo is done in a similar hue to that, but a bit darker. Her highlight is a hot pink, found on her nails, her hair, and the edge of color of her particle cannon and its abilities. She does have a sparse amount of gold, used on the heat sinks of her gun and on other small parts on her, such as her gloves, as well as the little rings that hold the energy on her. Like most other characters in the game, blue is associated with technology, and it's found in moderate amounts on her. Blue is also used for barriers within the game.
Interlock shields!
The colors used on her are typically associated with lasers, technology, and sometimes magic. You can find neighboring palettes on Peppermint from Hi-Fi Rush,
Chai, you totally got caught by Corsica.
the blades in K-pop Demon Hunters, Jinx from League of Legends,
Bravo, sis.
and of all things, the energy sword from Halo.
Be crushed! Don't worry, guys, I got this.
Some swish swish stab stuff going on there.
Swish! Swish! Oh, death! God damn it! Stop! Oh, come on! Oh, bullshit! Oh.
She also has green eyes that are complementary to her red. Based on her palette, we can assume she's quite clean and quite stable, but the inclusion of red and pink skew things a bit. The red when paired with white could link back to the medical field, but the scheme also has pink in it. This combo of pink and blue is quite mystical. It's like an in-between of Reinhardt's shield and Ramantra's Ravenous Vortex, so you could maybe assume some sort of combination of those attributes with her kit. Therefore, the red in her scheme likely links back to danger rather than medical aid, since yellow is used instead of that for healing in the game. Her palette isn't that boastful, especially when compared to Mauga's.
You look like a vanilla protein powder kind of girl.
Wrong. I take unflavored with water.
You know you can be tough and still have taste, right?
And it's associated with a bit of danger and like she uses technology within her kit. Her color palette, because of the value contrast, draws your attention to her thighs, the lower parts of her design, and her gun. This really puts a focus on her center of gravity, since humans are also drawn to the face, but also demonstrates that lots of her playstyle is based around what her gun can do, since all of your attention is guided towards it. Then we can look at her shape language and the physical aspects of her design. Zarya is one of the strongest women in the world in Overwatch, and she's about 6'5". The 512 tattooed on her shoulder is actually her max clean and jerk in kilograms, which is insane. For comparison, the Master Chief from Halo is only a couple of kilograms lighter than that.
510 kilograms. Ladies and gentlemen!
Her size, armor, and stance means you could really only see her as a tank. She isn't really covered in any one specific shape, save for some circles on her where her energy stores. Her overall design language seems to read off as heatsink inspired though, in terms of the lines covering her. Her gun even has a couple of heatsinks on it too. Heatsinks build up temperature, and it's safe to assume there's some kind of overheat mechanic or there's some sort of energy meter that her kit has, like some sort of level or energies going up and down on her screen that you have to manage with her playstyle. She also has lots of these arrow shapes that taper into rectangles. It's kind of funnel shaped. Because of the complexity and lots of the items on her, they read as rather advanced or technology based. It's not all that organic looking. Her gun is quite flat and angular, which reads as rather artificial. You can compare it to the more organic shapes of Symmetra's gun. Her gun is also massive. When mixed with her color palette, again, all of your attention points to her center of gravity and the gun. The way she holds her gun means it's really the only thing she can use. If she takes even one of her hands off the gun, it's going to tilt and hit the ground. She has a stance very similar to Legion from Titanfall and George from Halo. If these characters had backpacks, depending on the design of it, we could assume that the character would have abilities related to deploying gadgets and such. But their designs don't have that, so you don't assume that. For example, Legion doesn't have any giant missile silos or batteries on his back, so you assume he doesn't have any missile-based abilities.
Multiple Titans are engaging you. Concentrate fire on the weakest target.
Meaning anything Zarya does will have to be in relation to her gun. If she had abilities or buttons to press, it would have to be close to her fingers on the handles. Zarya stands in a rather low down position. I'd call the way she stands braced. She also has a techno weightlifting belt on her midsection. These are used to help powerlifters lift an intense amount of weight and give their bodies more structure so they're less likely to hurt themselves. She also has boots on that mimic the look of ski boots, of all things. They're not a one-to-one, but they share a lot of similarities. Her boots have these two big buckles on them that go across to keep them attached to her, and keep stability in her ankles. This buckle shape is seen actually a couple of times on her design. It's that funnel shape I mentioned earlier. This is a type of buckle type that really secures itself when it's down. It's meant to keep things from moving. The bottoms of her boots are also really big and chunky, but they likely give her more maneuverability compared to a real ski boot. Real ski boots have no ankle movement to them to help prevent injury and provide stability for the user, and that's probably what it's trying to convey with Zarya's boots. Because of these boots, and the rest of her design, mobility is one of the last things that comes to mind when you look at her. Her silhouette is also really bottom heavy because of her pants and the lack of massive armor on her upper half. She doesn't have Reinhardt's shoulder pads, for example, but she's too bulky to be agile and has nothing on her design that elicits speed. She wouldn't have any movement-based abilities in her kit. Meaning in order to push her over, you need an immense amount of force to do so. All in all, Zarya is supposed to convey a stocky, technology and energy-based tank with a focus on barriers and her gun, and that she's extremely difficult to move around, like an immovable object. Now we're going to go over some fun facts about these guys. On the Samoa map, you can find Mauga's room, and he has a bunch of posters of Zarya. He seems to be Zarya's biggest fan in more ways than one.
Champion Alexandra Zaryanova! Oh, I'm a huge fan!
Yes, you're huge and loud.
Zarya is actually 7 years younger than Mauga, which is interesting. There's little pads for Zarya's gun to connect to her gloves. Speaking of Zarya's gun, it's a prototype from Volskaya Industries. It was too cumbersome for the mechs to use, and too heavy for the typical infantry, so they gave it to her instead. I do miss the more traditional weightlifting belt she had in her classic skin, but the redesign unified it with her global shape language, so I think it's okay now. I do miss the really bright silver bits on her and her classic skin that made parts of her outfit look more like an experimental harness. But those silver colors likely wouldn't work with a new palette with its focus on white. Mauga's original kit that he was playtested with didn't suit his design, so the visual aspect of him separated from his gameplay side. Now we have the current Mauga, and Sigma was the design that evolved from his first kit.
I have harnessed the harness.
These videos do take time, so please be patient. I intend for the series to be more of a side series I do from time to time, as it's slightly faster for me to make. I don't know if any further videos will have that montage thing I do, but who knows, I may just have fun making them. I won't stop making these breaking down design videos, but please don't expect this to be the only type of content I make. For returning viewers, I did change the channel icon. I did try to keep it looking similar to the previous one, but I wanted to differentiate it a bit from other channels. I also redid past thumbnails, and made a design language for myself to use now. I may change the colors of the background depending on the series it's in. If you see thumbnails now that look like this, they're mine. That's it for the video. Thank you for watching, and take care.
Sensei Koikiki! Sensei Koikiki! Sensei Koikiki! Sensei Koikiki!